Hello again, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin and welcome back for another weekly Plan With Me video. In today's video I'm going to be setting up for the week of the 8th through to the 14th of April, but before that, as per usual, we're going to have a look at how this week was going. So as you'll remember from my last weekly Plan With Me video, for the entire month of April I was intending on doing Dutch door layouts. So I have Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And obviously this end of the week doesn't have a lot in here yet, just because I'm still actually getting through the week. For each of the days I have a section for my to-do list, a section for my top 3 tasks, or 3 kind of intentions I have for the day, my 3 successes, and then my meal log is down the bottom of each day. I'm not actually going to be changing very many things up for this week. Actually, I don't think I'll be changing anything at all, because at this stage, this is really working well for me. Next week is the last week of school before the holidays, so I want to keep my journal in a format that I know is going to work. Before we jump into it, as per usual, just a reminder that any of the equipment I use in today's video is linked in the description box below. So to start off with, I'm going to go through and put down the washi tape that I have on each of the little tabs for my Dutch doors. I like to use washi tape just to make these tabs a little bit more secure because they are quite fragile. The washi tape I'm using for this one comes on this little dispenser, and I got this from Officeworks in Australia. Because I'm using thin washi tape, to get the washi on both sides, I like to lay a piece down on this side and then one on the other side, and then trim it to fit the little tab. Actually, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I need to do 2 more tiny tabs. There's actually a really good reason as to why I usually do this off camera, and it's because I like to get my face really, really close to the tape I'm putting down, and nobody needs to see my hair in the shot. I like to consider myself a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to laying down washi tape. I really don't like it when it's not straight. It just irks me. So to make sure I get those really straight lines, I end up with my nose like 1 centimeter away from my page. Just gonna make sure it lines up with the dots. Nice and straight. Alrighty, washi taping done. Something I was thinking about doing was actually alternating the colour of the washi tape for week to week. So this week it would have been the kind of limey green colour I have, and then the week that I'm setting up for now I thought maybe I could have a different colour of green. But I thought that because there's an odd number of days, having it done that way I wouldn't actually have the same number of each colour when it came to the tabs, and that would probably annoy me, so decided just to go with the same colour again. In terms of setting up for each day of the week, I'm going to be including the same sections using that same green divider, and then also just to keep it consistent, I'm going to be using the same header as well. Doesn't make for a very exciting video considering it's exactly the same as last week, but I do know that it is going to work for me. Given the fact that I did actually talk through setting this layout up last week, I figured in today's video, at least for part of it, I could talk a little bit about the idea of being creative in your journal. Personally, I like to change my layouts up. I like to do something pretty much new every single week if I can. But at the same time, it is a bit of a balancing act when it comes to actually making sure I'm going to be as productive as I need to be, especially when my schedule is hectic. I know for some people they can use one layout and just stick with it, But for me personally, because I'm posting all of my things on social media, I do like to try new things and be able to share with you guys some different and creative layouts you can use. I'm a big supporter of the idea of do what makes you happy and do what works for you. So if using one style of layout every single week is what keeps you organized and on task, and you're still enjoying it every week you use it, then by all means totally do that. For myself though, I know I am the kind of person who will get bored quite easily. I can see that happening with this layout this month. But on the weeks that are going to be busier, like my week coming, it is nice to have the security of a layout that I know that already works. I know this is just like a really rambly way of saying do what makes you happy, but I think it's a message worth sharing all the same. As I mentioned in my last video, these dividers are one of my favorites to draw. They are so easy. As you can see, it's just dot in the middle of those two dots, and then a dash between those two dots, and then a dot, and a dash, and a dot, and a dash, so on and so forth. And it's just a really simple thing to do, but it can look really visually effective. I think that's like one of my favorite terms in these videos, visually effective. But no, maybe I'm just against the word aesthetic. Aesthetic. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going in with my green Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner and drawing out all of my dividing lines so that then I know exactly where to put in each of the headings for my sections, and also those little dots that I like to put down for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and also for my top 3 priorities for the day and my top 3 successes. Here's a question for the day. What is your favorite pen to use in your journal? As you can probably tell, for anything that's black, I like to use my Pitt Artist pens. I find that the quality of the black ink in that is really something that gels well with me. I used to use the Sharpie pens, but I found that any time I went over them with an eraser, they kind of turned into more of a grey colour than an actual solid true black, which kind of bothered me. As you've probably also been able to tell, the style of today's video is a little bit different to what I usually do. As you know, I usually like to do a voiceover with a time lapse going, but I have been watching a lot of Cindy of Llama's Love Lettering, and I love her videos so much. She's probably one of the only YouTubers in the planning community that I watch every single video for. And I love the way that her videos end up being a little bit more conversational, and she lets her viewers in on what she's doing and why she's setting up the way she's setting up and all of that kind of stuff. And not to say that I'm trying to like mimic her style or anything, but I thought it might be nice to have a little bit more of a relaxed take on my videos. I feel that with the voiceovers especially, I end up sounding like I'm reading from a script even though I'm not. It just comes from the fact that I end up saying the same thing multiple times until I decide that it sounded exactly the way that I wanted it to sound. Which means that filming of my videos and then the editing of my videos ends up taking a lot longer than it otherwise could. And I know that in some respects that shouldn't be too much of a factor I worry about, but I do only have so many hours in the day, and I do have a lot of things to do, like most of us do. So streamlining that process would allow me to work on more content for you guys. In different ways, that is. In ways other than just filming and editing. So jumping off the ramble train for a second, if this style of video is something that you like, the kind of more conversational thing, where I still do describe what I'm doing because I appreciate that you guys like to have a certain amount of detail when it comes to explaining what I'm putting down on paper, the spaces that I'm using, why I'm doing what I'm doing, all of that stuff. If you do like this kind of more conversational style as well, I would love to hear about that. Because at the end of it, I am making these videos in part to make content that I enjoy, but also in part to make content that you guys actually enjoy viewing. I hope I got my message across. I can't actually remember half of what I've said, so hopefully it made sense. I guess when I come to editing, I'm gonna see if any of it actually made sense, but yes. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes! God, my hand is cramping up. So having just mentioned it, letting you guys in on the spacing, I have 3 squares worth of space at the top, followed by 5 squares of space here. Down the bottom I have 6 squares of space, then 5 squares of space, and then this one is just whatever's left over for the page. So what I'm going to do now is go in on each page and write down breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and H2O in this bottom meal log section. And now I'm just going to go in and add in those 3 little dots, 3 little dots, 5 little dots on each page using my Pit Artist pen. Last week I also put a dot at where I was going to start my to-do list, which was actually a really silly idea because usually in my log for each day I like to put my events at the top, which meant I had a dot at the start of each day where I had to write a task down because I don't want to have a dot in the middle of my spot for an event. All in all, not my smartest moment. Talking about things that slow down my video production, I guess you could say, is that my house is on top of a hill, and right over our hill is where all of the planes fly by. So I'm constantly getting plane noises in the back of what I'm trying to record, which, because I'm me, I then feel the need to re-record, because you can hear this kind of drone in the background of the planes flying overhead. Of course, nothing you guys need concern yourself with, but just a little bit of a insight to my video making process. So for each of the headers for each day, I'm just going to be doing the same thing as I did last time. And I'm really glad I started talking about this because I was really just about to go and put green all over here, when, as we can see from my previous pages, I've been putting it in towards the center of each of these dailies. So it's just a scribble of color from my Tombow, and then filling in any of the gaps on this outlined box with my black Pit Artist pen again. Then I'm leaving myself 2 spaces outside of that box and putting in the first letter in green, using that Tri Plus fine liner again. And then the other 2 letters, which have 1 box space in between each of them, are just using that Pit Artist pen. Each of these letters, you can see, takes up a 2 square by 2 square box. And to finish this one off, I just go in and use my other Pit Artist pen in the S size to write down the day number. And then to finish off, I'm just going to go and add in some of the events that I have next week. So on Monday, I know I have my regular staff briefing in the morning. We have the first lot of parent-teacher interviews. On the Wednesday, I'd usually have my Bujo Wednesday, but because we have the second round of parent-teacher interviews, I'm not going to put that one in just yet. I do also have staff briefing again, because we have 2 a week. And then on the Thursday, I have my Year 9 level meeting that we have every Thursday morning. And on Friday, I am going to Melbourne. It's also the last day of school, but I'm going to Melbourne, so I won't be there for it. Awesome, so as a final flip through, we have a page for each day of the week. We have the section at the top for my 3 intentions, the middle section for my to-do list, and then the sections down the bottom for my top 3 things that happened that day, and my meal log. Thank you for watching. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and wanted to, feel free to subscribe to my channel to see the videos I release every Thursday and Sunday. I'll be back again on Sunday with a video about different font ideas for your journal. And so until next time, bye!